want to take a moment and thank our show sponsors, Lombardi Chiropractic in Oneida, New York, Suttmeier Law Firm in Oneida, New York, and NativePath Supplements. These are companies we personally use and trust. Mention the Co-Movement Gym podcast when you call Lombardi Chiropractic or Suttmeier Law Firm, and not only will they treat you like family, they will provide a nice, enticing discount to all listeners. And use code COMO15, that's COMO 15 at checkout when shopping at nativepath.com and receive 15% off all your orders. I also want to remind everyone that if you're enjoying our show, please become a monthly Patreon member. Your donation to our show assists in us paying for expenses and continuing to provide content we hope all of you enjoy. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Co-Movement Gym podcast. Today, we're speaking with Kristy Caruso. Kristy, how you doing?
I'm great.
Nice to have you here.
Oh, so I woke up like excited, like it was Christmas morning.
That's awesome.
Really, I'm happy to be with you guys.
Well, it looks like Christmas morning out there today.
Yeah, a little bit.
So there we go.
Yeah, it's always nice to connect with individuals, with similar values. I know you really stand for health and movement, and you're a yoga teacher, meditation teacher, and we've done work together at Hamilton College through the years, so our paths have crossed a lot. And here we are talking on the podcast, so I'm excited.
I know. I was thinking about how long it was that I taught at your place in Oriskany Falls. That was a long time ago. Like I really don't even know how many years at this point, but
oh gosh, yeah,
that was way back. You were in that big school.
Yes, we did a 3-month stint down there, which was really quite cool. But the space itself and the way that whole setup, came off wasn't what I envisioned, like long term. But yeah, no, gosh, when was that? 2015, maybe.
It might have even been before that. And I enjoyed, I just love teaching yoga. So, I appreciate having new venues to go to, but I had one student that came out of that experience that was really it was just like it was meant to be, that me and this young lady found each other and ended up doing some private sessions with each other. And so, I try to say yes to things, even if I'm not sure exactly how they're going to go, because I just believe that we don't know what's going to come out of saying yes. But if we say no, then we'll never find out.
It's always worth exploring.
Yeah. So I was very grateful for that experience, but that was a long time ago. And then butting up, we ran into each other at Hamilton every once in a while, but here we are.
Yeah, for sure. I want to dive in here, and I guess we'll just be blunt and start off with where we are in the world today. I feel like I'm an empath, and so I absorb energy in the world and people and different kinds of situations more so than maybe others. And I feel like, and Kristy, I want to hear what you have to say with this. The energy in the world, is it way off right now, or have you seen this with your clients, with yourself? Like, tell me about that.
Well, ever since this started a few years ago, I really felt from the beginning like this could be something very necessary in a way to wake people up. And I was born an optimist, and I've had a lot of friends say like, oh, I wish I had your optimism with all of this stuff. And it's like, I don't know how to be anything but optimistic when I see the amount of people that are starting to just question things. For years and years, I felt like a complete black sheep. I maybe had a couple people in this world that I could talk to about certain things. And now it's a completely different environment. It's just amazing to see how many people are really questioning, like, are pharmaceutical companies really on our side? Do we trust our doctors completely? I just feel like there's an awakening going on. with extraordinary growing pains.
That's,
And
I love the answer that you just gave there. Cause, Josh, when you asked that question, I was thinking, yeah, the world does seem to be really down in energy right now, and people are angry and people are upset and struggling, and we're trying to make sense of what's going on in the last few years or whatever. But I love the way that you flipped that, because you're right. We've kind of, in the last 50 or plus years, where things have been relatively good, quote unquote, people have gotten really, I don't know, sort of lazy and complacent and just kind of accepted things as they are and not questioned anything, not really tried to change anything. So maybe this was a really great catalyst for people to, to wake up and have to actually think about the state of the world and where they want the world to go from here. So this might actually be a really positive thing. It's just, you have to kind of go through hell to get to heaven.
yeah, like it's always darkest before dawn.
Right.
That's been a quote that has stuck with me my whole life. And it kind of feels that way right now. And it's like, I don't know how dark it has to get. I don't know how severe those growing pains have to be. I just don't see a lot of the masses across the world going back asleep after this. Once you've woken up,
You can't.
It's like when I found out that fluoride was bad, like years ago, and stopped using fluoride toothpaste. And, my kids are like, this toothpaste tastes terrible. I'm like, don't care. This is what we're doing. I couldn't unlearn that. I can't go back to being like, oh, let's just get Colgate. It's certain things you can't unlearn or unhear or unsee. And I've been sort of dialed into a lot of this stuff for a long time. And so for me, it was like right out of the gate, I was like, all right, here we go. And so I welcome the chaos to a certain extent. While at the same time, I already shed some tears this morning looking at some of the news going on in Europe, and really, like Buddhists say they want to expand their heart space so big to be like the ocean, to hold all the suffering of the world.
Envelop the world, yeah.
And I've always tried to do that. Like, I'm not going to close my eyes to any suffering. I'm not going to pretend like I can't see it. But that suffering grows my heart, and that suffering makes me even more sort of empowered to live from my truths and to not give in and to just keep going. And so it's like the yin yang. We need the shadow for the light, and it's all part of the human experience. So hope the growing pains don't get terribly worse, because it has been hard.
I have faith in humanity to pull together, because none of us are enjoying these times, and the worse that they get, the less we enjoy it, and the more I think we're likely to kind of band together and say, okay, we need to do something and and move forward in a positive way. I feel like we're getting towards the end of the difficulties, I hope.
Yeah.
But I'm optimistic too.
Yeah, I've reminded myself throughout this with a quote, through chaos comes order. Andy, you've heard me say that before.
Yeah.
And lots of chaos, but there's order that's happening. And like Kristy, you said, with the awakening and awareness around what's going on, you can't ever turn back now with that, because it's in you now. And I think there's a lot of, yes, it's downloaded.
That's the way I look at it. It's like, and it's downloaded into my brain now. It's in my being to know that there are powers that be that are making very terrible decisions on purpose to hurt humanity. So it's like, you're not going to unknow that. You're not going to go back to like, oh, they're great. They're really trying to help everybody. And there's, peace and prosperity and health being promoted from the top of the pyramid. It's like, no. You don't unlearn that. You don't go back.
Yeah, and I'm very interested, just for the listeners, so they have a little bit more of a background, with some of your insight into this, because you're working with people almost daily in the trenches, like normal everyday people with yoga and meditation and all of this. So, what you're seeing on the front lines is real to us. And I think the more people that hear about that, the better. And so, that's like us as coaches, we've seen So many like life changes here, jobs, people moving, homeschooling, just people adapting as they learn more and educate themselves with this new world. What have you seen for specific examples, Kristy, with your clients and community?
Honestly, with my clients and community, I've seen a lot of fear. I was Zooming my classes from March till August of 2020. And then by August, I was like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm getting out of I was like teaching in my kids' old playroom. I was like, I can't do this anymore. There's no, we need the energy fields, mingling. This is not working. So I went back to where I teach in New Hartford, and it was sort of a slow trickle of people coming back. And I never asked anyone to wear a mask. I never wore one myself. I think it was just kind of like the unspoken thing where she's not going to say anything. So I guess we're just, and some people would come in with one and realize they're the only one, but I've seen a lot of fear. And I've also seen this desperate need. Like, what I think the biggest takeaway is that we need to physically be around each other.
Yes.
We need that interaction, that community. It's like, yes, the Zooming was lovely. How's everybody doing? Great to see your face, but it does not replace human beings being around each other physically. And, as someone who's, practiced yoga for over 20 years now, like we are 3D physical beings and we're energetic beings. And so, the whole Heart Math Institute, where they say the heart center, when activated, extends like 30 feet out. So if we have, even a group of 5 people in a room that are intentionally, consciously creating a loving thought, we can be confident that we are impacting each other's energy fields in a very positive way. And I think that I have a small community. I don't have this huge, even though I've been doing it for a long time, my classes in New Hartford, it's a pretty small community, but it is so clear to us now how much it means to us, how much we value the personal interactions and stepping into the room and seeing each other. So, I've a lot of my students have, were nervous, have been nervous. I've lost clients, but then I started gaining some too that realized like, well, she's not going to make us wear a mask, and these other places are. And so I think I'd rather be in your class than somebody else's. Oh, that's only happened for a few people, but I think we just realized that we really need each other.
That was
sadly, that's one of the things that was taken away from us over the last few years. We had to be isolated by mandate or whatever. And whether you are pro the isolation or not, because some people think it was a really good idea to, for whatever reason, either side of the spectrum you fall on there, you recognize the problems that causes, everything that you just touched on with how important it is for us to have that in-person connection.
They use it as torture.
Right, exactly.
Yes,
yeah. Well,
exactly.
Think about the fact
that to break down a human being's spirit is to take them away from other beings. And so, okay, maybe we can do it for a little while and we can be okay. We can be strong and we can, use these other avenues of feeling connected. But feeling connected is part of our survival as a species. And that's why they can use it as torture.
Yeah.
Because it literally breaks down everything that makes us human. And so, whether people agree with it or not, I chose from the very beginning not to do that. If I had friends that were willing to hang out, we hung out. It was a very small group.
Yep.
I drove to Colorado
in
May of 2020.
Wow.
To go see my family. I was like, I'm getting in the car. There were riots across the country. I actually stayed at a hotel in Iowa that had a shooting from a riot,
Wow.
like in the same plaza. But it's like, I'm going to see my family. And if I can't fly, I'm just going. So like from the very beginning, I was not willing to isolate from the people that I love. And there's people who isolated from me, and I respected their choice. But those that were willing to have dinner, have a game night, come to my house and have a fire, I was like, bring it on. You're all welcome, because I'm not afraid.
I want to take a moment and thank our show sponsors, Lombardi Chiropractic in Oneida, New York, Suttmeier Law Firm in Oneida, New York, and NativePath Supplements. These are companies we personally use and trust. Mention the Co-Movement Gym podcast when you call Lombardi Chiropractic or Suttmeier Law Firm, and not only will they treat you like family, they will provide a nice, enticing discount to all listeners. And use code COMO15, that's COMO 15 at checkout when shopping at nativepath.com, and receive 15% off all your orders. I also want to remind everyone that if you're enjoying our show, please become a monthly Patreon member. Your donation to our show assists in us paying for expenses and continuing to provide content we hope all of you enjoy.